I hate to use the word mistakes, but these are things that maybe we don't always think about that can really turn the corner for us in our Ned Rig fishing. And I have no doubt that no matter what you're doing now, you're catching fish on the Ned Rig. But this is something that I think will take that experience to a whole new level for you. Number one is 99% of the time, most of us, myself definitely included, we fish the Ned Rig too fast. This is a presentation and a lure that just excels at sitting there and letting the natural currents within the water system impart the action to it. And we can go ahead and pop it now and then and shake it a little bit, but just know that the smallest movement with our wrist, if you've got like a 6.5 foot rod, that is just magnifying and amplifying the size of that movement. So the tiniest movement here still has a fairly good amount of movement down underneath the water, unless you've just, of course, got a ton of slack line out there and then it's not moving anyway. But really, really slow down the Ned Rig and don't impart too much action to it. The second thing that we need to do is we need to put on this little Ned Rig head here, we need to be using Elastec. Now this here, you may be thinking, whoa, Steve, that's huge. This is Elastec, okay, see it really stretches out, but this is actually a 0, and I just like to take this and go ahead and nip off part of it and then put that on my Ned Rig. And the Elastec is just so hard to beat. Okay, I do put a drop of super glue down here quite often, but that is so hard to beat. That Elastec is so buoyant. I can just throw that thing out there, completely forget about it, and it's going to sit upright. Now, all kinds of other plastics are going to work on this Ned Rig too, but I find that your regular plastic material does best when you've got a really, really clean bottom, okay, like a rocky bottom, pea gravel, something like that. If you've got some muck on the bottom of your lake or river, boy, I highly suggest putting that Elastec on there because it's going to stand it up just out of that mucky bottom just enough where the fish can see it better. Next is make sure that we don't forget to go ahead and experiment with size. Sometimes we get so wrapped up in just using that standard traditional Ned Rig type of length for our lures. You know, go ahead and experiment with different sizes and weights. You know, this may get bit, but on a certain day, this may get bit better. So especially depending if I've got a really mucky bottom down there, this might be just the ticket to stand up a little bit farther and be seen. So don't forget to keep experimenting with your Ned Rig. And hey, if you find something that works out great, make sure you drop a comment below. And the last thing that we really need to focus on with the Ned Rig is setting our drag on this particular system. I like my drag on a Ned Rig to start to kick in on the hook set. Now, not so much I can't get a hook set, but I like to feel just a little bit of slip on that hook set. These light wire hooks hardly need any effort whatsoever to penetrate. They're so ultra sharp, and because they are a light wire hook, they do not take as much kinetic energy as a big, huge, heavy wire hook. So with these light wire hooks, make sure you've got that drag set right. Odds are most of us are going to have to loosen it up. You just want to maintain pressure. I've actually poured the coals to these too much and busted these hooks on the hook set. I know that's crazy. Here I go from flipping a jig, put a Ned Rig on, boom, all of a sudden the hook breaks. So really be careful with the drag setting on your Ned Rig. And hey, if you would like to watch a video that talks about, well, when should I use a Ned Rig versus something like a drop shot, go ahead and check this one out right here. And don't forget to go out and encourage someone today. You never know how you might just change their life for the bass fishing life. I'm your host, Steve Rogers.